Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and I am again with Miss Howley.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about a series of topics that are kind of to do with interaction and relationships. Not necessarily all about dating, because relationships is a much broader topic than dating, especially at the high school level. So let's talk about a couple different things. And the first thing we want to talk about is boundaries. And I know things already pop to mind about boundaries. But I would argue that probably as a social worker, boundaries is probably something you talk about a bunch with students.
It's very important. And so when you had mentioned earlier about, having boundaries in different relationships, there's boundaries with yourself, there's boundaries with your family, boundaries with your friends, boundaries with teachers, co-workers. So there's a lot of different relationships that you have to learn how to navigate and understand kind of where people fit in your world within those boundaries.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to think about it, is kind of like a rock in a puddle or a pond. You're going to get rings, and you're going to get rings of people. So let's kind of start with the outermost ring. Somebody that doesn't know you. Somebody that you just see on the street, or because in the world in which we live, someone that just sees you online, runs across you online.
Ooh.
What kind of boundaries are bare minimums for people that don't know you?
I really love that you brought up the whole social media and how we have boundaries with strangers thing, because I think that's very important. Because when you have profiles on social media, we have to be cognizant or aware of whether we have things set to private, so only the people you know in your small circle are seeing your stuff, or if you have it set to private and then everyone in the whole pond is seeing your stuff. Okay, so you want to make sure that if you have things set to public so that you can get more views and likes and follows and things, because I know those are kind of important to kids too, that you don't post things that are too personal, that you don't reveal too much information about yourself, you don't overshare. You want to keep those things for your smaller circle of people that you can trust with that information. Because sometimes when we have loose or poor boundaries and we put too much information out there for those wider circles, people may abuse or misuse that information. And so to be, kind of aware of what we're putting out there and who we're putting it out there to.
Okay, so you're right. That is one of the most important things. And that's something that, let's be honest, when you or I grew up, we didn't really have to deal with. Nobody was really getting on my Prodigy account or my AOL and, snooping around or anything like that's just not a thing. What are some absolute critical things that you need to think about when you put things on public? What would be appropriate boundaries?
So my most important thing is that anything that you put out online, you may put it and delete it. Someone else could have screenshot that and it lives in perpetuity, or it lives forever online or on someone's device. So you want to make sure that if you're putting stuff out there that you're okay with it being out there forever, because just because you delete it doesn't mean that it's gone.
Okay, so it's permanent. That's number one. Number two, what needs to be private?
I would say anything that's personal, whether that's your feelings, your body, your relationships, private matters like what's going on with your family, with your finances, things like that. Those are things that you want to keep in that small inner circle and not have private for everyone to know your business and your information. Because if, let's just say, for example, your parents are having a hard time and they've been fighting and they're possibly splitting up. So you may be okay with sharing that information. Your parents might not want everybody else knowing their business and knowing that information.
Now let's move in a circle.
Okay.
Let's move into our acquaintances that we know but are not our friends necessarily.
So those would be people that you could share some things with, like, oh, my math class is really hard, I had a great weekend, we won the basketball game, things like that. So it's not the huge outer pond, it's not your closest tight-knit circle, it's somewhere kind of in between. So those are people, like I said, you can share some things with, but you don't want to, again, share super personal information, because though they may be acquaintances, you may not know them or be able to trust them.
And the cost of that is that interpersonal information getting out to that group of acquaintances, and then that a group of acquaintances posting that online in yet the bigger circle.
Yeah.
So making sure that you understand the difference between acquaintance and friend. Now let's talk about our friends.
Okay.
And we don't need to go too terrible in depth, but on average, how many friends does a person have that you would consider a friend?
A handful if you're lucky.
Yeah. To me, I got 5. I got 5 over the course of my high school, college, work career. There are 5 guys that I'm going to pretty much talk to and tell everything to, except for the absolute stuff that I only share with my wife.
Right.
But I got like 5 guys. For you, you're talking handful?
It's really about the same. Over my life, I've really come to understand that having 4 quarters is more valuable to me than 100 pennies. So that's kind of an analogy about having 100 people that are kind of friends that I don't really trust or I don't really see that often. I would rather put my time and energy and trust into those 4 people that I know have my back, that I know are looking out for my best interest, that I don't have to worry or like be so careful about what I say or what I do because I know that they're good people and they're
high school. About how many friends would be a really solid friend group?
I would really say it just kind of depends. Some people are more social and outgoing and they want more friends. Some people are more reserved or introverted and they don't want or need that many friends. I would say everyone needs some friends.
Yeah.
You need someone that you can go to share things with, to spend your time with. So it really just kind of depends on the person. But I think, especially nowadays when we're talking about the social media stuff, people get very caught up in how many followers do you have? How many likes do you get? How many people are on your friends list? How many people do you have Snapchat streaks with?
Yeah.
So it's sometimes about, well, for me, it's about quality over quantity.
Right.
And I think sometimes kids may be in the habit of trying to accumulate more people that I know, more people that I interact with, rather than like quality, trustworthy, deep friendships.
And so that brings us into the most inner circle. What are things that you only share within either your family or that most trusted friend group?
So that would be like super personal, private information. So if you're having health concerns, if you have identity concerns, if you have things that you are scared about, nervous about, excited about, things that you wouldn't want to tell other people for fear that they may do something with that information that you wouldn't want them to. So that's why your family and your very close trusted friends, they are your family and your close trusted friends because you know they're not going to violate your trust and your privacy and that they wouldn't want to do anything to jeopardize the friendship with you.
Absolutely. So our whole point of this is what we share and the boundaries that we have are different based on the group of people that we're talking about. Yes, we all need to be kind to one another. Mm-hmm. We all need to be considerate of one another. That's public. But I don't need to share my deepest, darkest feelings with the internet.
No.
Because let's be very clear, the internet does not care.
They don't.
And the people that do care about you, you don't need to work real hard to find those people. But the one thing you do need to do is make sure you value those people, treat those people well, and that's what we're going to get into in some of our next.